If I were to come up with some of my favorite tactical gear combinations, I'm talking about brands that seem to complement each other, I might start out with this favorite, SIG P226 in whatever caliber you want. 40 Smith & Wesson, 357 SIG. You won't be able to shoot that one, by the way. Or, in another favorite, the 9mm on the table. Warrior Excellence is what I dubbed it in 2008. I think I've sold more than a few for SIG. It is still a great go-to-war option for me personally. And in this video, I'm going to pair it up with another awesome brand. How about, no whip sound for this intro, the Microtech Auto UMS. Dated January 2005. S30V steel, very cool desert camouflage pattern they were doing back then, this particular coloration. Now that, in my mind, is a match made in heaven. And if you don't like the auto, perhaps we'll pair it with another Microtech offering. You've seen it before, still love it. Part of my personal collection, Microtech Manual Action Amphibian. This one dates back even further, October 2003. Still a match made in heaven. Love these brands, Microtech and SIG. And the way I think, they have a lot in common. Their approaches to quality are similar. Near perfect quality from what I've seen. And I will stress the word near, not exactly perfect. Both brands have had lapses, we know that, both SIG and Microtech, but for the most part, near perfect. Their engineering is superb, both in the 226 and in the models I'm showing in this video, just outstanding. They also have this in common, by the way. They're expensive. That's right, very expensive. Both the SIG 226, I've always thought it presents great value, and the models of Microtech on the table. They also, to me, present very high value for the price paid. Hi guys, Nutnfancy old school knife review. And I hear you talking. Nutnfancy's 2012. We can no longer buy the amphibian, at least on the primary market. We have to go to the used market. And even then, it's going to be very expensive. I hear you. By the way, this is an HEC knife for me. I'll explain. Or the Microtech UMS. Can't find that one. I hear you too on that one. So why don't we update it to my first OTF review. It is a Microtech. You've seen the title. Say hello to the Microtech Ultratech. Wicked. That is an awesome looking blade. That's their standard drop point. And I have rounded up 3 versions to show you in this first TMP OTF review video. That, again, standard. And then how about this one? Check it. Two-tone bayonet. Oh, that is hot looking. That also is a match made in heaven. A Microtech Ultratech with a SIG 226. And I got one more for you guys. This is my favorite. Urban Camouflage. You might have gathered I like the camouflage Microtechs. I like these too. This one's extra special. Urban Camouflage Ultratech. Oh, that is just gorgeous. Let's check the blade. Oh man, double-edged dagger OTF. Let's get to it. Ground rules. Number 1, in the shop today, I cut myself. Yep, drilling, it skipped, jammed right into my finger. Yeah, it hurts. So I'm just going to have to roll with it. Sorry if it's distracting. On my trigger finger, no less. That really sucks. But moving on with the show, another ground rule is both in duty use, my military duty, professional life, I have used Microtechs for a very long time. That does not, however, make me a very close Microtech follower. In other words, I don't follow Microtech history. I'm not spending time in the forums. I don't have time to do that. So maybe some details are a little remiss. I know there is a cult following for Microtech, pretty much any brand, to be honest. MT guys, definitely. So I'm not going to give you a rundown on the history of the Ultratech. I think these are 7th generation Ultratechs. It has been a very popular and best-selling OTF knife from Microtech for a very long time. I'm not going to go into the history. I am going to review this knife though. Straight up, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm going to start off right here with philosophy of use. Size and weight. I just posted a video called High End Carry. Please reference that because these knives qualify. Everything I said in that video plays for the Ultratechs on the table. They are providing that level of exclusivity, specialness, and superlative performance, just like I said in that philosophy video. Reference it. That's all I'll say about that. Next POU, philosophy of use, is collectible. Let's go back to that amphibian I showed you. Do you think this is collectible? I do. Totally. I could sell this for a lot more than I paid for it, even though it has been an HEC knife for me. And again, that stands for high-end carry, that I have carried this for a long time. My son too, Tactical Doodle. Not all the time, but it is in the rotation here in the Nutnfancy family. Still worth a lot of money. The thing I love about Microtechs, there's lots really, is they don't make a model forever. They do a run of it. I think there's a run of 6,000 Ultratech 7s. I could be off on that. More or less, but they're not like unlimited, especially when you talk colorations like this. And each one, thankfully, is numbered in a very cool way. Maybe not this one, but more or less. You know, you have variations on how they stamp the clip, where they're putting the serial number, where they put the eagle, how that eagle looks. You can see the claw eagle there. Data manufacturer. I think the serial number's up top there too. It's kind of hard to read. There you go. You can see it now. Fastener changes. All of that makes these knives ultra collectible, in my opinion. And I think the value will go up if you take care of them. I know that you could probably turn it for at least what you sold it for, maybe even more, depending on the variation and the desirability of that variation with the market, whoever that market will be. Will it be eBay? I don't know. Just all kinds of variations. Blade styles they've done. I'm showing you 3 on the table. Another one I'm not showing you is a Tanto version of the Ultratech OTF knife. Very collectible. I already covered the EDC philosophy of use with high-end carry. That covers all of that. And then I will say tactical. In fact, that is truly this knife's calling. As far as Microtech is concerned, that this is a very compact and portable blade you can integrate into your tactical system and use it when you need it. Speaking of weight, it is an amazingly light 3.8 ounces, 3.4 inch blade. Well done, MT. Well done, Tony. Dude, that is a very light knife for its size, and it's a huge accomplishment of engineering. Again, we see from MT. That's philosophy of use as I see it. On to steel. The steel on this one, if I'm not mistaken, is S35VN. Let's see if it's stamped right there. Can you see it? Sure enough. That's pretty much the same as S30V, except it's tougher. 145% better, I'm talking in edge retention, than 440C is what Crucible metals say. Very homogeneous in grain structure. All the stuff I've talked about S30V applies to S35. Is it better? I doubt it. It's probably about the same. In fact, if you look at Crucible's cutting charts in toughness and edge retention, it's identical to S30V, a CPM technology metal. Talked about it lots. It is easier to machine, it's easier to polish, and maybe that's why Microtech likes it. They use all kinds of steels, 154cm, D2, and they also do it sometimes surprising their customers. All of a sudden there's a run in D2. So you might see all types of steel variations of the Ultratech through the years and perhaps in the future as well. I think the current steel choice S35 is pretty much outstanding. And in line with its, what I think, HEC lineage. Kind of a high-end knife. How about the blade styles? Which one would you prefer? Well, let's go back to philosophy of use. What are you going to do with your Ultratech? Well, I don't know, Nutnfancy. I think I'm just going to HEC it. Well, in that case, this is a good choice, I think, right here. This knife right there. The drop point, because it has nice belly It's a conventional pattern. I think it'll cut well. It'll do everything well. It'll pierce cut well. And look at those cool grinds on there. Kind of an unsharpened swedge that tapers down to what I think is a pretty thick tip on this blade style of the Ultratech. This is a, I think, satin finished. Yeah, satin finished one. Kind of Scotch-Brite finish if you ask me. So that is a functional and gorgeous blade type, and I think it's a very strong blade type. How about tactical philosophy of use? Well, in that case, go for either one of these. Actually, all three of them are excellent in that role. But these have outstanding pierce cutting capabilities, and they also have some surgical capabilities if you're going to use them for, I don't know, picking stuff out. They also have delicate tips. So if you were to drop them, that probably wouldn't be awesome, because you're going to break your very expensive Ultratech, not covered under warranty, I don't think. This one actually could EDC quite well, because it also has some belly. It's not a pure, I don't know, dagger style. And by the way, that top side right there is sharpened. That swedge right there. That's the bayonet blade. That's what Microtech calls their bayonet blade. And another thing I love about the bayonet one is it has a flat right here for laying down your Edge Apex Pro, so you can get a very consistent movement on your sharpening stones. You might have a little bit of trouble doing that with this one, the DE model, double-edged. Pretty much tactical. You could also EDC this one, because it does feature some belly, and it is scalpel sharp out of box. All of these Ultratechs are. Actually, all Microtechs are. Their sharpening job, I've just never seen one that I go, huh, this sucks. Every time I bring one out, I was like, that's awesome. So there's your, three presented, I didn't show the Tanto once again, blade styles for you on the Ultratechs. For me to pick a favorite, it's difficult. Getting back to rolls, EDC, I would pick this one again as a compromise. Actually, I'm going to say both of these, the double-edged and the bayonet, are neck and neck. The coolest to wow your friends, getting back onto that specialness, will be this one. I think. I'm not sure on that, but if you bring that out, everybody understands what a dagger is. They've been watching movies forever. They just know. It just doesn't need explanation. It just seems more deadly, more tactical. Okay, there's your steel and blade shapes rundown. Speed. Well, I've been trying to demonstrate it. One thing I'm going to give it a ding on, I'm talking to Microtech Ultratech, at least this generation, is these buttons are pretty hard to actuate. Now, granted, as I bring it in, we're actually getting our thumb strength in shape. Okay, and then pushing out's easier because you have an extended thumb, so that's easier. Bringing them back in, though, you're going to have to work at it a little bit. Okay, once you get that down, the speed is phenomenal on the Ultratech. It's as fast as you actuate the button. I haven't seen any OTFs any faster. And I've played with a lot of OTFs over the years. Hey, Nutnfancy, why are you choosing to do it now? Show it on camera. Well, one is I found a supplier for you guys that I think I can give you a good deal. My finger's killing me. That's why I'm having trouble with that one. That's why, because I have a source for you that I can trust, and I know that they have it, and I can get you a good price on it. I mean, don't kid around. It will be an expensive knife for you. But that's the main reason, and I finally found a good supplier for him. Okay, so speed is top notch, as far as I know, on the Ultratech, and lockup and strength. As an OTF design, you have to have some slop in the mechanism. Otherwise, the friction is going to be so high, the blade just won't be able to come out. So let's check the movement on this bayonet Ultratech. Excellent. There is just a very slight amount up and down. Very slight amount. That's what I would expect in an OTF design with current technology. I've handled Piranha ones, Mod, Benchmade. In fact, I have an Infidel sitting right here. Let's check it. Has an easier to actuate button, by the way, which I kind of like. And let's check the movement on the Infidel. A little bit more. Up and down. A little bit more. I'm not going to say a lot more. I'm going to say a little bit more. Okay, again, it's also an OTF. So I would say the lockup and strength is excellent. Maybe outstanding in this model. Maybe excellent for the Benchmade Infidel. we'll call it outstanding. The strength, once it's deployed, is outstanding. Unless you do something really dumb with it, like try to stab it into some type of media that will, one, break the tip, or two, just cause catastrophic failure. These are designed as tactical knives, and so I'm thinking the media is going to be, I don't know, a bad guy. Body armor would present, I think, no problem to this. Maybe a knife vest would, but even then, excellent penetration capabilities for all of these knives. But of course, this bayonet version and the DE one would be the best. Probably that one would come in as a close second. So strength, excellent for an OTF knife. Remember, it's not a fixed blade, and there's hard use tactical folders that will beat it in both of those categories. On to handle set, handle construction of the Infidel. Let me show you first how cool this one is. Okay, for one, we've got those proprietary fasteners that, heck, I showed you back with the UMS in 2008. They haven't changed it. I have talked to dealers. I haven't talked to Tony direct, but I understand Microtech does that because it makes copying their knives more difficult for overseas counterfeiters. I also think he does it just to make his knives more special. As a user, we generally don't like it because now we have to go out and secure a tri-wing or tri-spanner bit to fit that. And yes, you can find them. And it's kind of a hassle. They do look cool though. The handle, by the way, is very slim. And it's almost a perfect 1-to-1 ratio in the Ultratech. That, in my estimation, is excellent. Here it is in the closed position, right there. Look at how slim and trim that is. By the way, these grooves, like I see on most Microtech knives, functional, sharp on the 6061 T6 aluminum handle. And then we'll talk about the clip here in just a second, but I want to show you the coating. That bronze coating. I don't know if that's titanium nitride or what Microtech used on it, but man, does it contrast nicely with that urban camo. Oh my gosh, that's such a good looking blade. Carbide glass breaker on the back. I did take that off just to see if it could be done. It's easy to do. It is Loctited back there. I used a Glock tool just to put in there. There's your lanyard hole if you want to fix a lanyard that will fit in there. Probably not a bad idea on this expensive knife. This could function as, of course, a glass breaker, and also, I won't say non-lethal, I'll say lethal impact tool. Can you imagine getting hit with that sucker? Ouch. I mean, we're talking, yeah, I think the courts will look at, if you use that, that's like using the blade. This, that, both lethal. That's what I would think. Colorations. It has been issued in all types of colorations. I've got only two to show you, sorry. There's been reds. A favorite that I saw was a purple Ultratech. Oh my gosh, was it gorgeous. But this is your standard matte black on the handle set. And it provides excellent traction. However, it's not overly chalky, like I see perhaps on the Infidel by Benchmade, to be honest. It's great traction, but it's a little bit chalky. That's at least what I've always called it. The handle overall for an OTF is one of the best that I've seen. Ratio-wise, ergonomically speaking, how it feels in hand. The corners aren't too sharp. The clip kind of gets in the way when we're talking about ergonomics. If we grasp it, we can feel it and think about it. I don't know if this is a long use knife. That's really not how it's designed. It's designed as an instantaneous self-defense tool. The Microtech Ultratech. There you go. So when I talk about ergonomics, I'm going to say that jimping's excellent. The button is excellent, and as you can see, it varies from the Infidel formula in that it's positioned topside, not on the side, at least the handle side. Which do you prefer, Nutnfancy? I would say probably topside from where I'm at now and how I think. That it just feels like more natural. It's almost, you can function as a, I don't know, a jimped thumb ramp if your hands are small enough. So I like topside. Not to say I hate the Infidel. I adapt to that readily. I'll review that separately. I love also how it carries, hello, tip down. Now that's not really a player when we talk about an OTF out the front model, but I like it. It just, I don't know, suits me better. Durability. Well, the Ultratech still is an OTF design, and they have lots of parts in there. Less is generally more if we want a durable knife. I'm talking less parts, a single piece of steel, and that's not the Ultratech, or for that matter, any other OTF design. They're kind of complex, and if you get a bunch of gunk in them, they can fail to fire. Fire them often to keep them clean. Once in a while, lubricate them. Some guys like using dry lube. I'll just put a little dot of rim oil right here on the interior. Oh, you're not supposed to use oil. It attracts all kinds of lint. Well, again, I'm not the OTF expert, but I haven't had a problem with it. And if it gets really bad, just clean it with gunk out or brake cleaner. Dry it out with compressed air. Do it all over. That'd be fine. But yeah, some parts can fail, and I have heard of Microtech OTFs failing from dealers. It happens. You know, is Microtech the best customer service place out there? I can only go off my personal experience, and I've never had to use them that way that I can remember. There are some various things out there that say they're not that responsive. I can't really validate those though, because I just can't. If I could validate them, I'd roll them in. But so I wouldn't really use that as a data point. The quality levels from what I'm seeing should mean that as an OTF knife, these knives should last awesome for you. Again, I got no crystal ball. You might get one that's defective, but I think Microtech's quality levels are excellent. There has been some talk about how they're not quite as good as they used to be. I have to say, I haven't really seen that. That in examining these knives, which are 2012 models, they're outstanding, the quality levels. I don't see anything lacking them at all. I mean, if we look at the button, is there any play in the button? Does it wiggle? Okay, does it shake? No. Is it positive in its firing, retraction? Absolutely. I mean, the quality levels are phenomenal. So as durable as any other OTF knife, maybe even better, especially for the money. And by the way, keep this in mind. With the design, the springs stay at rest in the closed position. So there's no strain on the springs in the Ultratech. Remember I talked about engineering excellence with Microtech and SIG? Maybe that's another example. And there's some other awesome OTF designs out there. This is just one of them. That's all I'm saying. On to value and options, speaking of other ones. Well, I don't have a lot on the table. They're very hard to get. When TMP buys them, they're very expensive and funds are very limited, so that's just the way it rolls. Here again is a Benchmade Infidel. This is a 3310. It's going to be more expensive than a Microtech Ultratech. Which one would you prefer? Well, this is a bigger blade right here. Okay, it's S30V steel. It's about $385 to $400 is what you'll pay for this one. And you know they have different blade styles too. I like them both. You know, Microtech Ultratech is just a little bit smaller. I do love the larger blades in a tactical philosophy of use. In an HEC philosophy of use, I like these smaller blades better. Just something to consider. Oh, the one I was trying to think of is a Piranha Excalibur. That's an OTF by Piranha. Love that company. And it's expensive. That's like $385 as well. S30V, 4.5 ounces, so it's going to be a little bit heavier. This is a lot heavier, by the way, than the Ultratech. And then we have, what else? Well, how about Microtech brands? I don't have them on the table, but the Microtech Troden, Combat Troden, Scarab, some other options for you if you're dedicated to getting an OTF model. They do come with lifetime warranties. I'm talking Microtech. Can you secure the service in a timely fashion? I don't know. I sure hope so. For the price, they should absolutely deliver. I'm talking about Microtech. No doubt. I mean, when we talk about HEC, one of the points I made is superlative performance, and part of that is awesome customer service. You send it back, you get great service. I know for a fact you'll get that out of Benchmade. Know for a fact. And I would hope you get it out of Microtech. That's all I can say. That's my personal experience. And we'll end with cool factor. Dudes, these are freaking sick knives. These Ultratechs are just amazing. You will wow your friends if this is your everyday carry knife. It's fast, it's fun, it's addictive, and the quality levels, like I've shown you, are just off the charts. Made in the United States of America. Value, I don't know if I said the price, I'm glad I remembered, about $2.25. Look in the upper right if you want to save money. using the Nutnfancy Association, I say go for it and score yourself an Ultratech. I think primarily an awesome HEC option. This is the Nutnfancy review. Hope you liked it. See ya.